Hello, and welcome to the Wealth and Wisdom with the Market Guys. I'm James DeGiorgia.
And I'm Jeff Garbaz.
On today's show, we're going to share with you a way to earn 15 to as much as 40% leveraging the crisis in real estate. Jeff, who do we have to discuss the subject today with?
Our guest today is Glen Gallucci, a 25-year veteran in the real estate market who is an expert in the field of quick-turn real estate investing. Glen's annual bus tour of investment properties has been featured in the real estate section of the New York Times and has become one of the leading experts in this type of investing, thanks to his knowledge and his down-to-earth, tell-it-like-it-is teaching style. Thanks for being on our show today.
Thank you for having me.
So, Glen, I'm going to get right to it. What exactly is a private lender, and how does it relate to real estate?
Okay, well, a private lender is basically anyone who lends money to another person. That person can be a family member, a friend, a stranger, anyone at all. And the arena that I like to see people, including myself, invest and lend money to are real estate investors. Okay, and real estate investors are usually investors that are buying properties that are in foreclosure, they're bank owned, they're distressed properties, and they buy these properties, they fix them up, and they sell them quickly. And you can get, as a private lender, you can get a very high interest rate for lending to such real estate investors. And that's what's called the quick turn real estate market.
Glen, I've been hearing a lot of talk about the quick turn real estate investing. Can you give us a little more in detail on it?
Sure. Again, the quick turn means exactly how it sounds. It's when investors are buying property, fixing them up, repairing them, selling them quickly for a profit. And the whole process only takes about anywhere from 3 to 6 months. So as a private lender, you're only lending your money for short periods of time, as opposed to lending it out for 5 years or 7 years, where a lot of people are uncomfortable doing that. So this quick turn real estate really lends itself to private lenders because it's quick, it's fast, and it's relatively simple, and you're well protected because it's real estate secured.
Now, how did you get involved in this? And I have to ask as a follow-up to that, is that in this environment where there's a big backlog of real estate and the economy is slowing down, can you really turn these properties over quickly?
Yes, absolutely. In fact, there have been real estate investors that have bought properties, sold them, and made huge profits, and then they were taking their profits and turning them back into the market via lending money to other investors. So, and regardless of the economy, people often ask me, if the market is going down, how do you still make a profit? And my answer is pretty simple, is that, well, I just buy them lower. It's like a stock. You make money when you buy it, not so much when you sell it. So if I can buy properties continually at a lower discounted price, I'm still going to make a profit when I sell it.
Do investors really pay these high interest rates?
Absolutely, absolutely. One thing investors need, and that's cash, and they need it quickly in the quick turn real estate. When you're buying properties at 40, 50, 60 cents on the dollar, there's a lot of competition out there. So one needs to get the money, get the deal closed quickly, or else another investor is going to come along and take the deal right out from under them. So there's a huge demand for it, and there are thousands and thousands of investors across the country that are buying these distressed properties in the quick turn real estate.
I have to ask, you talk about, the 15 to 40% that you can make. But that leads to the question is, how do you protect yourself in these transactions? I mean, if you go ahead and you're doing it very quickly, if you put $400,000 or $200,000 into a project and lend it, how do you make sure you get it back? How are you sure you're safe?
Excellent question, and as a private lender myself, that's one of the first questions I've always asked myself. And it's pretty simple. You're very well protected when you lend your money if you have the proper documents. And I'll just give you a few examples of having the proper documents. You always want to have first lien position on the property. Okay, so there's nobody in front of you. You'll have a title search done on the property. Make sure the title is clear on the property. You could also protect yourself with having a mortgage, and again, first lien mortgage, and you'll have a mortgage note. Mortgage note basically explains what the terms of the mortgage is. You could have, I like to get certified appraisals of the properties from professional appraisers, so we know exactly what the property is going to be worth.
So in a market like that, the appraisal is going to be a lot tougher, so you're going to be even more secure.
Absolutely. And again, I use a simple formula to guarantee not only my investment, but also the the real estate investor's investment. So in other words, I want to make sure that that investor is going to make money on the property before I go and lend my money. And again, I use a pretty simple formula, and basically it's like you don't want to have any more than 65 to 70% into any property. So a quick example, if a property is going to be selling for $100,000, you don't want to lend or have any more money than $65,000 to $70,000 into that investment. And that basically protects the real estate investor and it protects the lender, because that 30% is used for closing costs and of course their profit, which is the most important thing.
So as an investor, do you have to have a net worth the size of Donald Trump to do this, or can anyone do this?
Well, surprisingly not, and especially depending on where you are in the country. You know, you can buy houses for as little as $100,000 in some areas, and then of course you can't touch properties up in the Northeast where we are. It's you know, you could buy junkers for $200,000, $250,000. But the good news is you can get involved in this at any level. You could lend, if a house is selling for $120,000, you could be lending $50,000 or $60,000 to the real estate investor and get a very high interest rate and possibly an equity position. And if the houses are selling for $250,000 or $300,000, again, you want to be in that 65, 70% loan to value range, so you're very well protected. So whether it's $50,000 or $200,000, the formula is the same. And I have a saying, you know, a bad investment at $50,000 is a lot worse than a good investment at $200,000. So I know we all like to put out as little money as possible, but again, the formula is the same no matter, you know, what pricing you're at.
So to understand this is really an arbitrage situation, because there aren't banks that are lending entrepreneurs money right now as readily as they were before. So you're stepping in as a private lender at a much higher rate. You're securing the property, okay, and then lending the money so that you have the lien against it. You're arbitraging. You're buying properties, distressed properties.
Correct.
Okay. I have to ask. So if it doesn't take a lot of money. What if you don't even have the money to do it? Is there a way to go ahead and do this without, you know, getting money from other sources?
Absolutely. You could be a private lender by lending money. It doesn't necessarily mean it has to be your money. There's a few different ways that private lenders even get their funds. One is that they have it in a savings account. Another way is they may have stocks that they bought way back when that may not be performing as well as they would like, so they can cash those stocks out and put them into a real estate investment that'll give them, you know, very high returns. There's also equity in one's home. If you don't have readily available cash, a lot of people have a lot of equity in their house. So if you're sitting with a house that's worth $300,000 or $200,000, and you may have a small mortgage on it or whatever, you could have $100,000 or $150,000 just in your equity line of credit alone. That's one way. And if you may have family members. This is another thing. You may have family members that have funds available, sitting in savings accounts, CDs, earning 2%, if that now, 2 or 3%. So why not take their money, put it into a good real estate investment, lending it to the real estate investors, and getting them 15, 18, 20% and more. So if it's not your money, you can get it from the family. And maybe you want to give them 10 or 12%, which is still better than 2 and 3%, and you'll have money left over for yourself as well.